Hey, it's great to be back with you. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier, here on No Soundbites Allowed. We have a great show for you, and we're going to go straight to our guest, who is Laura Loomer, an activist, a journalist, a personality of interest here in the United States. Laura, can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Is that a little bit louder, a little bit better?
That's a little bit better. It's a bit low.
Yeah, I apologize for that. We'll try and fix that for you so you can hear it a little bit better. So bear with me. And if you can't hear me, just ask me to repeat. But let me start off, Laura. You're well known in many circles amongst Republicans, amongst conservatives. You've had a great career as a journalist and still ongoing. You've worked with Breitbart. You've worked with
Rebel Media.
Rebel Media up in Canada. And you've run into a lot of controversy. And that kind of led to what we see today with Facebook. You just mentioned, I think it was about 4 days ago, you're suing Facebook. What happened?
Well, I'm suing Facebook, I'm suing Twitter, and I'm suing the Council on American Islamic Relations. It's not just Facebook, but my latest lawsuit with Facebook is just the most recent lawsuit, and probably many more to come in this fight that I've been enduring for the last 2 years. I've been banned on every single social media company pretty much in the world. In May, Facebook banned me permanently on Facebook and Instagram, which they own, and they deemed me a dangerous individual. They said that I was so dangerous that I needed to be totally eradicated from the internet. And not only did I need to be banned, but also anybody who posted pictures with me, who posted my name, and anybody who shared my content deserved to be banned. And they said that I was dangerous, and according to their standards, a dangerous individual is somebody who commits mass murder or somebody who's a terrorist or promotes violence. I've done neither of those things. All I used my Facebook for was really just posting my news articles and posting my videos. I'm a conservative investigative journalist. I'm Jewish, and I voted for President Trump.
Oh,
And even while being Jewish and being a conservative, I've been labeled, a white supremacist. I've been called a neo-Nazi, a racist, a bigot, all types of names, seriously defamed. My work has been featured, internationally. My videos have had millions of views. I've confronted the most high-profile leftists in this country, and have had videos that have trended #1 on social media. But when you type my name into Google, all you see are hit pieces about me. And that's because, the real collusion that's taking place in this country right now is between the big tech social media companies and the radical left, who are doing everything in their power to silence and censor Donald Trump's biggest and most effective supporters, myself included, and also to control the narrative online as to how people perceive him and his supporters.
well, let me ask you, Laura, because I have a picture up of you now. I've seen you in many videos. I was at CPAC 2019 covering that event, and I'm not aware of. You're not a big woman, and you're not the Hulk. You're not some, incredible person in that sense of huge size. Why are they saying that you're so dangerous? What have you actually, you haven't done anything. Why would they call you so dangerous?
Well, it's not that I'm dangerous in the sense that I'm violent. I'm dangerous in the fact that I expose their radical agenda. So, of course, they're going to label me dangerous because my videos and the message that I have and my journalism, because I am good at what I do, is dangerous to the people who they prop up. And the people who they prop up are these anti-American, Jew-hating, Trump-hating communists and jihadists who are now roaming the halls of Congress. And if you look at the tweets that I was banned for and the stuff that they've accused me of being hateful for, I posted a tweet on Twitter that said Ilhan Omar was anti-Jewish, and that's entirely factual. I mean, even Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi had asked Ilhan Omar to apologize for her anti-Semitic remarks.
Yes.
And yet I was deemed a hateful person and banned, and I lost the 265,000 followers that I had on Twitter, and I was defamed. I was called anti-Muslim.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, I've been I've had my reputation destroyed and my livelihood taken from me, all because I posted factual information about candidates, all of which is now revealing itself in the media to be completely true. And so before anybody was ever talking about Ilhan Omar,
Right.
I was on the ground in Minnesota investigating her and Keith Ellison, of course, and I was called a conspiracy theorist. And when I showed up to her campaign event that she was holding with Rashida Tlaib, I asked her why she married her brother. I asked her why she hated Jews, why she hates Israel, why she supports terrorist organizations, why she hates America, like why she committed tax fraud. Every story that's now coming out about her, I broke. And it's incredible to me because I was called anti-Muslim, and the newspaper, the Star Tribune paper, actually printed that I was a white supremacist in the paper, and um, no one challenged it, right? And now everything is coming out to be entirely true, and here I am banned. I can't even defend myself. I can't make a living anymore because PayPal banned me because I'm a Trump supporter. GoFundMe banned me. Okay, my fans who made GoFundMe's for me are getting banned for no reason, just because they have Laura Loomer in the name of their GoFundMe. Venmo banned me. I mean, it's just getting out of control. Even Chase Bank temporarily shut down the online access to my bank account, and so um, that's why I'm suing Facebook. Right, I sued them
Right.
for $3 billion for defamation. And if that didn't sound insane enough, the day that I filed my lawsuit against Facebook, they updated their terms of service to include a section that it was okay to murder me.
Whoa.
So if you look at the article on my site, you'll see that their community standards page said, do not post death threats unless it's directed at dangerous individuals. So basically, do not post death threats on our platform or anything that could incite high severity violence, as they label it. I don't know what that is, high severity violence. So
I don't know what
extreme
that
forms
is.
of violence. Unless it's directed at Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, Gavin McInnes, Milo Yiannopoulos, Paul Joseph Watson, Louis Farrakhan, and whoever else we tell you dangerous. Because here at Facebook, we're not just a bunch of nerds who sit behind a screen and program all day, but we're also the FBI, and we get to designate who is and isn't a terrorist in this country. I mean,
That's
who
crazy.
gave these people this amount of power?
No, I agree. And Laura, the reason why I ask those questions is I want to make sure that people get to hear from you directly, unedited, your thoughts and exactly where you come from about these issues, where you stand. So I thank you for clarifying your point of view and exactly what you're saying and not some other information. And I want to turn to my intern, John, the intern. I know he has a question for you as well. So, John?
Regarding Facebook, because in our college Republicans group, you come up quite a bit in a very positive light most of the time. But one of the common criticisms is that Facebook is a private company, same with Twitter and all these, and they have a right to ban you. What are your thoughts on that argument?
Facebook and Twitter aren't private companies. These are companies that are receiving contracts and money from the government, and they're involved in government projects, right? They're not private. They're not private companies. Like once you start, just like Google, right? Google is involved in contracts with the government, okay? And in the background right now, as I'm on this interview, Peter Thiel is on Tucker Carlson talking about how it's time to investigate Google for aiding the Chinese military,
Yes.
and trying them for treason, because these tech companies now, right? They get taxpayer money oftentimes because they're so powerful that now government agencies are working with them, just like we see with Google getting government contracts, and they are using taxpayer dollars to commit civil rights violations against conservative Americans. Okay, they're committing criminal activity by aiding and abetting terrorist organizations. Right, the Wall Street Journal published in January, a very nice reporter by the name of Kirsten Grine published a report that said that the Council on American Islamic Relations, CAIR, which is a designated terrorist organization in the United Arab Emirates, lobbied Twitter secretly to ban me from the platform. So what I want to know is, why is Twitter taking meeting with jihadists and people who think that the CIA is worse than ISIS, according to their own tweets on social media, and then using it to ban me, a Jewish conservative journalist? I identify as a Zionist. Do you want to know what this woman from CAIR has to say about Zionists? She thinks that Zionists are worse than ISIS. Okay, she thinks that Jews are worse than ISIS.
Well,
CAIR is Hamas, according to the Holy Land Foundation terrorism trial. Hamas in its charter says that their mission is to kill Jewish people. I'm Jewish. I mean, it's incredible that this is happening in the United States of America. My civil rights have been severely violated, along with this, the rights of many other conservatives. But the fact that social media companies are now giving a platform to terrorist organizations and not banning them, but then they're banning me and claiming that I'm a dangerous terrorist, it's out of control. Something needs to change. These companies have too much power and they're ruining people's lives.
I agree completely on that. And I've had I have several videos speaking about the censorship that's ongoing in social media right now and the impact of it overall. But I know we don't have a lot more time with you, but I want to jump to another question that's current as well. And I want to hear your take on it. I'm sure you've heard about President Trump. He had a tweet. Well, actually, to start properly, Nancy Pelosi is in a battle with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Cortez claims that Nancy Pelosi is a racist. On Saturday, after that, President Trump comes out. He makes his statement saying that, I think, targeting Ilhan Omar, go back to your home. Then he is now being labeled as a racist by Nancy Pelosi, who herself was labeled a racist. Let me ask you, when you're looking at that as a woman, as someone who's Jewish, as someone who is outspoken, what do you see from that? What's that make you think? What's going on?
Well, it just makes me want to support President Trump even more. At least President Trump has the balls and the common sense to actually call out these vile Jew haters and America haters when he sees them. And he's right. If these people hate America so much, like this ungrateful so-called refugee, Ilhan Omar, who came from a terrorist hotbed, a war-torn country where people don't even have enough food. I mean, pirates are in control of Somalia. There's so much corruption. Al-Shabaab and ISIS are blowing people up with child suicide bombers every day. Then she can go back. She can go back. If she really honestly thinks that America is so bad, then she can go back. And the same goes for Alexandria. Who cares if she's a United States citizen? She sure as hell doesn't act like one. Okay, if she wants socialism and she wants a 70% tax rate, she can go to Venezuela and go eat some zoo animals with the people who are eating garbage and zoo animals in Venezuela. Okay, I'm sick of these people. And Donald Trump is right. And I don't find it racist. And I'm so sick and tired of these women who are literally supporting, foreign governments where they prop up terrorist regimes and supporting socialist dictators who are killing their people and firing squads in the street, saying that our president is unjust. These people have no idea what it's like to live in an unjust society.
I agree.
And they're just gaslighting everybody into thinking that they themselves are more just than the president, but their policies are leading to actual violence and acts of anarchy and terrorism, and they're going to get people killed with their rhetoric.
No, I believe.
I don't have any problem with President Trump saying what he said, and honestly, I think that most people agree with him. Twitter is not reality in the sense that just because a bunch of blue checkmark accounts on Twitter, which are inherently biased and rigged in favor of the Democrat Party and given, boosts by algorithms. Okay, this is not a conspiracy theory. This has all been proven. Twitter uses algorithms to censor conservatives. They use algorithms to boost left-wing, accounts. Twitter has employed members of Antifa, right?
Right.
And they're attacking President Trump and making it seem like this echo chamber is in favor of these Democrat socialist women and anti-Trump. Yeah, that's real convenience. Of course it's going to seem that way when you're banning every single conservative off your platform.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I understand. And we were talking about the racism and disagreeing with where they were going with it before you came on, but we wanted to hear your take on that. And I agree, and it's the president, I forget his last name.
Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey admitted to Congress that 600,000 conservatives were blocked by the algorithms of Twitter. That is a fact, and I agree with you. It's insane. But I did want to get in one last question from my associate John, the intern, because I know we're just about out of time. So let me let him go right with it.
So, Laura, I announced that I was interviewing you, much to my excitement, because I did fanboy out a little bit, as Mr. Vasquez will tell you. But the number one comment I got in my Facebook post was claiming that you want to ban Islam. Is that true? Did you ever state that? Just to clarify for the record, because I couldn't find it online.
That I want to ban Islam?
That is the number one thing I got posted to my Facebook. And
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't understand why everybody is so up in arms about my comments about Islam. I mean, Islam is totally incompatible with Western civilization and our United States Constitution. And I think it's hilarious how these people attack me for saying things like, I don't want Islam in my country, or that I'm anti-Islam and Islam has no place in our government. But then, look at President Trump. He's the president of the United States, and when he was campaigning, he said Islam hates us. Islam does hate us. And, I'm not a fan of Islam, and I'm not going to bow down to the left, and I'm not going to bow down to these jihadists who are working with big tech and who are now roaming the halls of our Congress and apologize for speaking truth about Islam. There's nothing wrong with being anti-Islam. Of course I want to ban Islam. I'm a Jewish conservative woman. Have you ever read the Quran? I mean, you know that
Yes.
women have less rights than men. Women are treated worse than animals in Islam, okay? You're allowed to rape women. You're allowed to beat women. They call for the killing of Jews. In Islam, and if I were living in a Muslim majority country, I would either have to convert to Islam or I'd have to pay the jizya, okay? So, of course, I don't want Islam anywhere near me. I don't have a problem with that, and I don't know why that would be such a controversial thing for people to bring up. I mean, I don't know. That's confusing to me as to why so many people would take offense to that comment. Which, yeah, I mean, I probably said it. I don't know. I can't pull up the tweets or Facebook posts because I'm banned. But yeah, I probably did say it.
Well,
but
Laura,
what's wrong? What's wrong with that?
well, I think with a lot of things in the internet these days, Laura, people on social media, something can be said, it can be taken out of context, and then it flows, and all of a sudden you've got memes going out everywhere, and no one knows where the original source
even
was.
if it wasn't taken out of context, like let's just say I really did say ban Islam,
Right.
which, to be honest, I probably did say that.
Okay.
What is wrong with that? I don't know why people take offense to that. Of course I want to ban Islam. I mean, I don't have a problem with people saying that. Islam is not compatible with the United States Constitution. There have been studies conducted in this country that show that majority of Muslims living in this country would rather have Sharia law than the United States Constitution. I mean, I'm pro-life. I don't know if you're pro-life.
Yes, I am.
But I'm pro-life, and being pro-life means that I'm anti-Islam as a Jewish conservative American woman. Being anti-Islam is a matter of life or death for me, because under Islam, I wouldn't have any rights if I were living in an Islamic caliphate or a Muslim majority country. I might be dead if I were living in a Muslim majority country.
Well,
So, people can be offended, but I'm never going to apologize about my views on Islam.
well, what would you say to the people? And I've heard this as well, and I was also contacted before, as people knew that you were coming on today, and they said that your position, if it were true, if it is accurate, that it violates the First Amendment, the freedom to have a religion.
that's what I was going to ask.
Do you
your
agree
opinion on
with
the
that?
First Amendment.
It's kind of hard to hear you because the sound is in and out, but can you ask your question again, please?
Sure. I have been asked in response if you do agree in banning Islam, doesn't that violate the First Amendment? People have asked me that. They wanted me to ask you that.
I don't believe that it violates the First Amendment. I'm not president of the United States, and we have in this country, we have religious freedom. But what people don't understand, and this is largely due to the fact that there's so much propaganda out there, right? And nobody ever speaks truth about Islam, is that Islam itself is not viewed as a religion by Muslim people. Muslim people view Islam as a political ideology. If you were to be in the Middle East, Islam itself is a political movement. It's an entire way of life. Okay, and it views itself as being inherently political. I mean, it's no surprise that the most problematic women in Congress right now happen to be Muslims. I mean, look at what they're doing. They just formed a Muslim caucus, not
Yeah.
because they care about being a representative for Americans and American constituents as American congresswomen. No, they're concerned about being a voice for Muslims because Islam is inherently political. Notice you don't see these women ever speaking about Islam as how it relates to religious values. They talk about it with regards to political movements, with regards to immigration. Okay. And if you look at how civilizations are conquered and how countries end up falling, and how people and entire groups of people are conquered and enslaved, right? It's through the process of immigration, replacement, and displacement. And that's exactly what their goal is. Okay. And that's exactly what their prophet Muhammad called upon Muslims to do. Okay,
Okay.
he called on Muslims to carry out acts of massive immigration in order to subvert civilizations and ultimately conquer. He was a warlord. He was a slave owner, and so I just don't think that it is a violation of the First Amendment. Obviously, I respect people's right in this country to practice whatever they want to practice, but unfortunately, we live in a society right now where Muslims don't want to call out acts of terror. Muslims don't want to openly say that they're proud to be Americans. Look at Ilhan Omar today.
Yeah.
She was asked during a press conference whether she would condemn the Antifa terrorist attack and whether she was anti Al Qaeda. And she didn't, she would not she would not answer the question. I mean, why is it so difficult for an elected member of Congress in the United States of America to say whether or not they condemn Antifa and Al Qaeda?
It shouldn't be
Okay.
that hard. Shouldn't be that hard.
It shouldn't be that hard. It's very bizarre to me. It's very weird how we're expected to be pro-Islam, and we're expected to accept this form of anti-assimilation and total anti-American subversion on behalf of these people who won't even say that they're anti-terrorism.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let people bully me into accepting this because I find it to be extremely disturbing. I find it to be very problematic that we now have congresswomen who are using their positions to advocate for men accused of joining ISIS. I find it to be very troubling that Ilhan Omar's district is the number one ISIS recruitment center in this country, according to the FBI. It's not a coincidence. Okay, a lot of people are not going to say this because they don't want to get in trouble or they don't want to be attacked by the media, but it's not a coincidence that the first Muslim congresswoman, the first Muslim woman, the first Somali immigrant elected to Congress also happens to be living in the district that is the number one ISIS recruitment center. It's not a surprise, and that's not a coincidence, and people need to put two and two together and realize we have a serious problem in this country.
Well, I gotta say, Laura, it's we always, the name of the program is No Soundbites Allowed. We want people to talk. We want them to share ideas and to express themselves. And I want to thank you because this is exactly it. You're doing exactly what the program's for. Answering questions, clarifying from yourself exactly where you stand and exactly what you believe, and not some meme or some bullet point which doesn't help anyone really get an understanding. We always offer in every interview we do, is there anything we have not covered? I know we've got you over a little bit, but is there anything else that you wanted to add before we let you go today?
No, I was just going to say thanks so much for having me on. And, for people who want to follow me now that I'm banned everywhere, you can go to my website, lauraloomer.us. It's also on Drudge Report. If you scroll down to the bottom, my byline's under Rush Limbaugh. But you can subscribe to my newsletter. I'm on Parler as well, which is a new platform. You can send me an email. I'm not afraid of answering people's questions. So if there are people who want me to clarify my positions, I'm more than happy to. I'm not a racist. I'm not a bigot. I think that my positions are very logical. And if anything is evident that I've been right all along, I mean, just go watch this press conference today by these members of the Hamas caucus and tell me if you feel like those are acceptable things for these people to be saying. We are in a crisis in this country, and people really need to start to wake up.
I understand, and I thank you for getting that message out, and I thank you for the time today, the extended time. We really do appreciate that, and I will also be linking to your site on on the video in Facebook, and we'll also be looking out in case they do get censored and dropped, because that's insane. But we'll keep an eye out for that. But you're always welcome back on the program. We'll try and get you back on again soon, and to speak with you more, because we believe in everyone having a voice in America. So
yeah, thanks for having me, and for your intern as well. Thanks for your question, and I'd be more than happy to come speak at your school for your college Republicans if you'd want to arrange that.
Oh, absolutely. We'd love to have anyone come to our school. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The school
great.
is
Binghamton University.
So we'll get in touch with your people and let them know about Binghamton University and get you out there.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much, Laura.
Yeah. Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye. Oh. All right, folks. So that was Laura Loomer, and make sure she's there. Say goodbye. And so we were just talking to Laura Loomer.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you so much.
And we want to thank you for that. And it was a great conversation with her. Very informative. I think a lot of people learned some new information hearing it from her. That's the whole point of No Soundbites Allowed. We are hearing from the individuals in their words completely what they think. And we're able to hear, and it's firsthand knowledge. You got to hear what she said without edits, without someone chopping it up, so you can understand what she believes. And is it fair what Facebook is doing? Should she win her $3 billion lawsuit? You can hear what she has to say about Representative Omar, who is a very questionable person, along with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her support of President Trump. We look forward to hearing what you think. How did you think the interview went? Was there a question that you wanted to ask, but you were afraid to ask, that we did ask? Was there anything that we could have done better? And of course, do you want to hear her again? Do you want her to get back on with us? And I can't wait to see if we can get her on at Binghamton University. What do you think?
I'm sure there would be many, many protests, but I'd love to attempt.
I don't care about protests.
Nor
I
do
care
I.
about people speaking. Mm-hmm. But if there's interest in some of the Binghamton University students, let us know. If you're in the southern tier of New York, if you're in northwest Pennsylvania, let us know. We will get that arranged and see if we can get her in here and let her speak to you and answer your questions at an event. We would love to get that done.